Is this the beginning of a major shift in BTS's dynamics and HYBE's internal management? Why did Jungkook choose not to respond to official messages from his own agency? And what shocking decision did Taehyung make that stunned fans and the Korean entertainment industry? In this tense situation, Jungkook's silence and Taehyung's bold maneuver raise serious questions about what's happening behind the scenes. Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS known for his discipline and responsibility, is now in the spotlight after internal reports revealed that he has ignored several important communications from HYBE management. Sources from the entertainment industry mention that these messages were related to post-military service scheduling and team meetings. However, up to now, Jungkook has yet to provide an official response or appear in person for any of the meetings. Jungkook's decision has shocked many because it contrasts sharply with his professional image over the years. However, some insiders close to the management team revealed that Jungkook is currently undergoing psychological recovery and is dealing with sensitive and crucial personal matters after completing his mandatory military service. The issue has not been detailed, but it is believed to be related to internal pressures, a shift in group dynamics, and increasing dissatisfaction with the management, especially after the recent issue involving his fellow member, Taehyung. Almost simultaneously, Kim Taehyung, who also recently completed his military duty, took a step that surprised everyone. Without any official statement from HYBE, Taehyung decided to organize his comeback and media activities independently, with the assistance of external professional teams. He is reported to have appointed a media consultant and personal legal advisor to ensure that all his post-service activities align with his wishes, without full intervention from central management. This independent move by Taehyung is being interpreted as a clear sign of distrust toward HYBE's internal system, particularly after he felt that he was not properly welcomed or handled professionally upon returning from military service. There was no special announcement from the agency, no promotional release featuring his name, and no confirmation of Taehyung's role in BTS's agenda for the second half of the year. His absence was too conspicuous for someone as central as him. Taehyung's move has become a silent, but very powerful statement. In a brief interview quoted by Japanese media, he stated, "I don't want to move just because someone tells me to." Although he did not directly name any person or institution, many interpreted this as a direct criticism of HYBE's management style, which is often seen as controlling without considering individual conditions or visions. The impact was immediate. Jungkook, known for having a strong emotional bond with Taehyung, reportedly cut off communication with the management staff in the days following Taehyung's move. A source from HYBE's production team even stated that Jungkook not only ignored text messages, but also did not attend important meetings discussing BTS's post-military structure and strategy. He did not provide a formal reason, but many believe this was a silent show of support for Taehyung's decision. Many industry observers now see this as a sign of long-simmering internal division finally coming to light. What we're witnessing is not a spontaneous reaction. This is the result of years of accumulated pressure. When the system is too controlling and fails to allow space for discussion, artists will begin to look for their own paths, said entertainment industry analyst Lee Myung-ho. The public is beginning to speculate about a potential major restructuring in the relationship between BTS and HYBE. Some even suggest that the BTS members may collectively request a renegotiation of their contracts if this internal conflict is not resolved soon. The speculation intensified after several international media outlets reported that independent legal teams had been contacted by individuals representing senior members of a global group. In this context, Taehyung and Jungkook represent resistance to the rigid artist management system. Their actions are not merely individual choices, but reflect a shifting paradigm in which K-pop artists are beginning to demand greater control over their careers. A trend long held back by an industry model favoring total agency control. Meanwhile, public response has been mixed. Most armies are expressing full support for Taehyung's and Jungkook's personal choices, arguing that they deserve the right to shape their own futures after more than a decade of dedication under such a demanding industry. However, some fans regret Jungkook's move, seeing it as too abrupt and likely to destabilize the group further. HYBE has so far remained silent. There has been no official statement regarding Jungkook's absence from the company's agenda, nor any comment on Taehyung's independent initiative. When asked for clarification by local media, a company spokesperson gave the standard response: "We respect the privacy and choices of all our artists." But HYBE's silence only fuels speculation that this crisis goes beyond communication issues and touches on management structure and trust. The fact that two of BTS's core members have chosen to distance themselves almost simultaneously indicates something much deeper than what is visible on the surface. At this point, all eyes are on the next moves. Will Jungkook truly go independent like Taehyung? Or does he just need time alone before returning to group activities? And will HYBE continue its long-standing top-down approach, or start opening space for more humane dialogue with its artists? One thing is clear: Jungkook's silence, Taehyung's bold decision, and HYBE's passive stance have created a massive wave in the ocean of K-pop. A wave that will not only determine BTS's future, but also set a precedent for countless other artists still silenced behind the scenes. Although the narrative circulating across various social media platforms and fan forums appears to construct a dramatic scenario about an internal conflict between Jungkook, Taehyung, and HYBE, it is important to emphasize that up to this point, there is no concrete evidence or official statement supporting the truth of such claims. All information stating that Jungkook ignored official communication from his agency, or that Taehyung has taken legal steps and is organizing his activities independently, remains speculative and comes from unofficial media, anonymous accounts, or one-sided statements that have not been verified, based on research conducted through HYBE's official website, as well as monitoring credible South Korean media platforms such as Yonhap News, KBS, SBS, and Dispatch. No news releases have been found, stating that Jungkook openly avoided or rejected messages from his management. Likewise, the information suggesting that he is currently dealing with serious personal issues after military service is still an assumption and interpretation of a public figure's behavior who naturally has full rights to his privacy. Furthermore, the supposed decision made by Taehyung to operate independently outside of HYBE's structure has also not been proven. To date, there is no legal document, official statement from a lawyer, or confirmation from Taehyung himself that supports the claim that he has chosen to manage his career autonomously. In fact, in several instances, HYBE has stated that all BTS members are still under an exclusive contract and actively participating in both group plans and individual activities as agreed. It must be acknowledged that in today's digital era, emotionally toned and clickbait content spreads very easily, especially when involving public figures like BTS members who have a global fan base and extraordinary media attention. Sensational headlines using phrases like ignoring commands, cutting ties with the agency, or moving independently can attract many readers, but unfortunately often ignore the principle of fact verification, as for Jungkook's personal posts that were interpreted as a form of sarcasm or frustration towards the internal situation. They were essentially ambiguous and did not explicitly state anything about his relationship with HYBE or Taehyung. Free interpretation of a celebrity's personal sentences can easily stray from the actual intent if not accompanied by direct clarification. Similarly, speculation that Taehyung is taking legal steps to evaluate his contract with HYBE should be supported by publicly available legal processes or at least reported by major media outlets with high credibility. So far, all such reports are based solely on unverifiable claims. It is crucial for the public, especially ARMY, to be cautious in digesting the flood of information online, particularly that which involves prominent names like Jungkook and Taehyung. Spreading unproven information not only risks misleading the public, but can also create unnecessary psychological pressure on the artists involved. Oftentimes, exaggerated false narratives only complicate relationships between fans, agencies, and the artists themselves. As a music group with tremendous global impact, BTS has never escaped public attention. But behind the stage, They are humans who have private lives, recovery time, and the right to privacy, like anyone else. Jungkook, who has just completed his military service, is understandably taking time to readjust, and his absence from the public eye does not necessarily mean he is ignoring his agency. Likewise, Taehyung's possible silence or his absence from the spotlight might not be due to conflict, but rather a personal strategy or an internally agreed decision. The issue stating that HYBE is currently experiencing an internal crisis also remains unproven. While it cannot be denied that every company faces management challenges from time to time, there is no strong evidence to suggest that the relationship between HYBE and BTS is currently deteriorating. In fact, in several previous statements, HYBE has affirmed its long-term commitment to supporting the return of BTS members post-military with a more flexible and individual-focused approach, as members of a society that aims to support artists in a healthy way. The public must refrain from getting swept up in sensation and instead choose to wait for clarity from parties who have the true authority to speak. The dissemination of rumors or personal interpretations disguised as facts only harms the information climate and can negatively impact the individuals at the center of the news.I end conclusion. The news claiming that Jungkook ignored messages from HYBE and that Taehyung allegedly took a surprising step after completing his military service has not been proven to be true and cannot be considered a valid basis for drawing any conclusions regarding BTS's internal dynamics or their relationship with the agency. All such information remains speculative at this point and has the potential to mislead the public if not approached with caution and further verification.